Welcome back, my wonderful tome readers. Today we're doing a more or less blind first playthrough of the Devil, a game that was described, the first time I heard about it, as Ace Attorney in a cyberpunk dystopia setting, with a canonical trans person who's not just killed off screen or for dramatic effect, from the narrative sin of being trans or whatever. Also, minor spoiler, but I think it also is mentioned early on, so it's fine. Apparently, the attorney that we are going to be playing as is a criminal, a killer specifically, and our what's the term? Not customer, our client. That's it. Is unaware of this fact and perhaps is catching on to it? Not sure. I mostly know about this game because Demily Pyro played it. And I did not tune into the streams with audio loud enough that I could overhear it. I did my part as a viewer. I'll give her the great prestige and income from the ads, but I really wanted to play this game completely blind when I got around to it. And that's what we're going to do today. That's right, we're here, the game is queer. We're going to see if I am smart enough to do this. But yeah, this is a work of fiction. Any characters or plots seen based on real life are purely coincidental. Yeah. It's a really nice effect. This is the menu here. This cigarette smoke obscuring part of the sign, even though color scheme makes them look like they're blending into the background. I did test to see how well my computer would handle it last night. I did not actually read more than I had to. Just kind of clicked through as much as I could, skipping everything I could. My computer seemed to be okay. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Because as much as I like the concept of Ace Attorney, I've never actually played it myself. And I might be too dumb, especially after the days of work I've had this week. But yeah, why don't we just jump right into it and see how dumb I am. Oh wait, not continue. New case. Episode 0 is pretty much the demo. It's free on Steam if you guys want to get it yourselves. Let's just kind of enjoy this music for a little bit before the plot hits us hard. Yeah, that's the stuff. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise. This city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. There's no escaping the second-hand nervous energy of it all, but I'm plenty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. Morgan. Criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. Because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never unknown, and always online. Whether it's incandescent, or neon, or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen, there's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. Solitude's a rarity. Anonymity is scarce. And criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do until I found. Counselor, your public defender contract has been approved. You are expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. I'll try. Heart emoji. Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now. 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Because now that I'm here, things are gonna get busy. Of the Devil, Episode 0. And he shall appear. We will keep the tutorials on, thank you. Alright, what's all this then? Precinct 254. It's a goddamn ghost town. It's nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. Now I hear about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Alright, press escape or click the phone icon in the top left to access pause menu or save, load, and check settings. Toggle auto text advance with the A key or check reach. Or check reread previous lines with the L key. Sorry, the grammar and the line break really confused me there. So L key to look at lines, A key to auto advance. Probably not going to use either. Use the mouse to look around for points of interest that you can click on, or press space to find them automatically. Learn credit for investigating anything and everything you can. Credit is both a measure of your information gathering skills and your own credibility. Actually, pause like these graphics, especially how sometimes it goes with the bass of the song in the background, is really nice. So, don't go broke. Okay, so that's us, and mirror us with red or black. Interesting. We'll see what that mean metaphorically. Observe. What do we have here? Inspect. Read. I don't think there's anything else. So let's start with the observe. An actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum. Though museums tend to feel expensive and clean. Dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't too dark. Did you know that during dramatic events, memory formation is blah, blah, blah? Poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel. And all during billable hours. But there's no room to sow doubt anymore. Not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording. Assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. Next, let's read. A data pad. I'll bite. Even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda sort of way, you can offer articles on the environment. They offer insight on the world around you and credit towards your investigation. Articles are at your phone's reading list after you first read them. Choose the proper takeaway after reading them, and you'll earn additional bonus credit too. Interesting. Subway fixes axed city to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreparably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system were being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater damage to sensitive electronic cabling and erosion of key tunnel fixtures were cited as reasons for why 89% of the subway system was evaluated as critically compromised or worse. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super infrastructure system that weaves together trams, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy, high above our city streets. So far, no longer working on subway and underground transportation. Everything's got to be above ground, which is probably easier to work on. You're not having to work around the concrete that supports buildings and whatnot. But that's probably not the real reason they're doing it. Reactions to the announcement could be characterized as blasé. It's been years since the subways last ran, and decades since they last ran on schedule. Most citizens have long since given up hope on them ever making a comeback. Online chatter barely reacted to the announcement, with most commenters and voters' attention focused instead on the growing investigations into Councilman Long's campaign finance irregularities. As one of the canopy's major backers in City Hall, Long has often found himself at odds with a small but vocal group of critics that consider it to be an eyesore and an amplifier of light and noise pollution. And with Long having stepped away from his political duties in order to more fully cooperate with investigators, for the first time in nearly 20 years, the typically rock-steady political foundation of the canopy was looking uncharacteristically shaky going into this week. But with the subways now officially no longer an option, people and corporations alike have little choice for how they complete their morning commute. However, not all reactions to the news have been negative. At least a few bold individuals see this latest report as vindication, possibly even a rallying cry. Already considered by many to be rising star in infrastructure solutions abroad, tech startup Subterra made headlines last year with their radical proposal for a system of personal submarine taxi pods that can make use of the flooded subway tunnels. But momentum stalled when their first prototype for the city came in at a disappointing 3,359% over budget. Okay, so if 100% is a doubling, 200 is tripling. This is times 4. What carryover? It's pretty much always 1, so if this was a single thousand, it'd be 11. Okay, so this is 3,400. Oh, wait, sorry. 34. 4. More than 38 times the expected budget? That's some bullshit there. Holy crap. Especially because, I mean, if it's supposed to be an underwater taxi pod, you'd want that shit to be airtight and watertight, but also still easy enough to repair if need be. Oof. That one council member was quoted as calling their system mind-bogglingly wasteful and impractical in the extreme. In light of this latest announcement, Subterra has proudly declared their intent to resubmit their proposal package. Across the entire globe, coastal cities like ours have struggled to find civil engineering answers to rising sea levels and subterranean flooding that satisfy financial, practical, and aesthetical concerns. That feels like the wrong choice of words. It should just be an aesthetic concern, right? Anyway, historically, most scientists have attributed this increase in sea level to climate change, though there are dissenting voices. Water rises and falls all the time, for reasons we do not fully understand. Are we to... It appears you have 0 free articles remaining this month. Please verify your account information in order to continue reading the stories that matter. Okay, so, to review. Subway system, no longer in operation. And now it's in an official capacity, because it apparently hasn't been for years due to saltwater damage. So we're close enough to a coast that salt water is getting underneath the city. Probably a sort of like pseudo-New York type city. If only because that tends to be like the default for a lot of cyberpunk settings. But also because it has subways and is near an oceanic coast. Let's see. Councilman Long is under investigation for finance irregularities, and so this long-coming announcement that the old subways are out of commission is possibly a distraction. And, and then there's also Subterra. It's also trying to make a bid for their company to come in, do another kind of taxi service, and the now derelict subway tunnels, as well as the fact that climate change is very much confirmed as real, even though the excuses are, let's see. Water rises and falls all the time, for reasons we do not fully understand. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? In the far-flung future, despite the fact we know why, whatever. Okay, so, policy of them, putting the paywall there. As if I'd reach for my wallet after having to read a word like aesthetical. Okay, so it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaways that the city will be focusing its efforts on. No, because Subterra is going to submit their proposal, but it's not confirmed, so the canopy. There will be increased scrutiny surrounding the canopy now that there's no plan B. It's a massive project, with a massive budget. Lines pockets of a lot of people, big and small. None of them would appreciate bad press at the moment, not when Councilman Long's already thoroughly chummed the waters. Now, I assume also to some degree, Councilman Long probably has a few fingers in various project pies that'll be profiting off of it. We'll examine that last just in case it makes us check out. So let's inspect this coffee table. High traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishing, multiple screening stations. Pragmatic brutalism, so textbook it could teach freshman level architecture. You can almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right angles. The civil planning equivalents of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago that they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing back when it was built. Walking in here now, with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice ward for heavy-handedness. All that's left is this welcome screen with a bullet hole. The medium's cracked in the corner, a bit more than the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff, and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of those things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. Looks like the usual 1-to-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. So for check-in information only, if you are experiencing an emergency, please use our universal contact number at string not found. Cool. Well, I guess that's one way to not make it feel like a distinctly American location. Because I know it's 911 in America, but isn't it like 411 in a lot of countries in Europe? I know England, one of them, 411. So yeah, interesting. But there's a few missing persons too. 1 year of silver plane coverage, courtesy of Caduceus, as a reward for any. Silver's no joke. Family must be getting desperate. Alright. I've taken all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. That jump scared me a little. Was not expecting that. It moved up fine. So far, so good. Good morning. Morgan, here for public defender contract. Could you please provide your name and... Great. Please stand still for a moment. I wouldn't call Intake Hollows charming. More like harmless. That's probably what the designers were aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their text, so long as it never speaks out of turn. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth? So far, so good, was it? We'll go with scan my card. Say, why don't you just scan my ID card? Great. Now, could you just confirm your date of birth for me? Why do they even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card and my profile. I have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. No problem. My birthday's... Is this important, I wonder? If the choice doesn't matter and it's just going to be some minor thing for later, which of these would I like most as a birthday? I think just before Halloween, because in the middle of November and fucking Thanksgiving, it's like, God, that would suck. But being just after Christmas would suck for similar but partially different reasons. So yeah, October 25th. It's not quite correct. Would you like to try wait, when would we have found out? Should I like to check your profile to be certain? Oh wait, can we? Oh. I was unaware. December 26th. Ah, so it does matter. Interesting. Okay. So we have AB minus blood type. And we can access this during conversation. I probably should have fiddled with that to see that. Like puzzles, smoking, wooden furniture, commercials, hairdressers, jogging. Those are dislikes. We dislike hairdressers, really? Talent. Can fall asleep in any position. Favorite coffee is decaf, and our drink is whiskey sour. What else do we have up here we can look at? Reading list. Subway's abandoned. We're going to do this just so it's not highlighted anymore, because that bugs me. Search tons. Oh, conductive resin. Though it outwardly resembles plastic or grass, conductive resin is actually an electromagnetic polymer used in a wide variety of stationary or portable devices where its unique properties allow it to act as both a display and a processor, enabling ultra-thin or even transparent electronics. There are upwards of 100 different patented varieties of conductive resin, each intended for different use cases, industries, and environments. They're all fairly lightweight and fragile, except for the small handful formulated for military and security applications. Because of its widespread use in high-turnover products such as datapads and smartphones, producers of conductive resin are frequently accused of engineered obsolescence by consumer rights groups. These claims have never been proven before a court. Screen cracked? Schedule a fix here. Datapads. Lightweight portable electronic devices known as datapads have no significant internal storage capabilities, can only display what is streamed to them from local networks. Originally marketed as replacement for ecologically wasteful newspapers, magazines, and flyers, datapads quickly became infamous for the difficulty and expense involved in recycling them once their limited lifetime components were expired. It wasn't until they were rebranded as ideal for privacy and security that datapads found success in their private and public sectors, for their ability to display location-locked content, helped corporations minimize data leaks, and give their advertisements targeted geographic relevance. Today, datapads are a mainstay of high-traffic public spaces and virtual physical hybrid workplaces, despite remaining unpopular with most environmentalists and bibliophiles. Holograms. Enabled by specialized projectors or mediums like conductive resin, holograms are graphic displays that appear three-dimensional to the human eye, when viewed from any part of a face range of at least 180 degrees, an effect known as the Watterson illusion phenomenon. Why does this make me think... Calvin Hobbes, maybe? One second, I'm going to look that up real quick. Calvin and Hobbes... Tombst. By Bill Watterson, yeah. Huh. Neat. Not something I would have expected to remember. Originally patented in late 2059, Watterson's phenomenon was initially used exclusively in the adult entertainment industry. Of course. Holograms did not become widely adopted as an advertising tool until the much maligned Holiday season of 2061, after which laws restricting the presence of holograms in public spaces were passed with uncharacteristically universal support. We're sorry to see you've installed a subroutine on this device to disable and highlight our recommended premium external links. We understand your drive for personalization, but unauthorized tech impacts our ability to serve you the best, most relevant information possible. Consider disabling your subroutine so we can serve you a more tailored browsing experience. I'm with Morgan here. Fuck this. Gods. Evidence? Oh yeah, of course we don't have any. I think it was 26? Yeah, December 26. Would kind of defeat the purpose of verification, wouldn't it? I'm sorry, but I'm not equipped to make judgments about the futility of security theater. But you are equipped to make the line pointing out the futility of security theater like this? Wow. But you are allowed to say it's only theater. Wow, Morgan is very similar to me at this point. No, I must have misspoken. What I meant to say was that my birthday is December 26th. Perfect. Good morning, Morgan Counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on this public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to counseling quarter 3C. Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room? I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect state standards. Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. You could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. It doesn't change the way it makes a person feel, sitting in a stifling box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection, dully warped across gunmetal walls. Morgan Counselor, can I help you with anything else? That progressive story and choices that represent side topics will react differently to your mouse. You can also use keys 1 through 5 on your keyboard to choose dialogue choices from top to bottom. Because of what you read earlier, you've unlocked an additional choice in the dialogue. Read and examine at every opportunity to build up your knowledge and get the most out of every conversation. So we can do the disrepair. Let's see, what was it? L to look at past? Okay, her last thing was, can I help you with anything else? So obviously, no thanks is continuing the story. Okay, I see. Side things, do not do the zoom in thing. Got it. Let's do a quick check. Nothing changed there. So why the disrepair? No, the city's not terribly concerned with the low reports, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty? This facility is currently undergoing renovations. Since when? The 60s? It has been 22 months since the timetable was last updated. Really? don't see a lot of action around here, do they? I'm sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered. I'm adaptable. What about you? Hey, you ever gonna fix that crack? Thank you for asking. It has not interfered with my work. Well, that's all that matters, right? Okay. I have a feeling it has interfered with your work, to be honest. So what are you? I'm a smart user interface, proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. So going off the way to pronounce GUI, or GUI, she is a SUI. But yeah, smart user interface. The question is here is grammatically, is this saying that the user needs to be smart to properly use it, or that the interface itself is smart? Could be the latter, because she did point out the bit about security theater being pretty useless. So if you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages? No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. That'll be all. Thank you. You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office through the door to your right. Thanks. But I think it's just me for now. So you could go on break if you like. Automated dependents do not take breaks. Morgan, counselor. And what were you doing before I walked in? You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office. Through the door to the right, thank you. Ads don't get breaks. And they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are most fun to mess with anyway. Oh wait, shit. Is there actually something there and I accidentally clicked through it? Okay, no. It's gone bad as something. Voice. No, voices. Coming from down the hall. Friend of yours? Probably. Thank God I stopped for directions. Building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. Worrying about me? God forbid I try to be serious. All the other rings with youthful indignation. It's not like our job's important or anything. Definitely cops. And at this precinct, at this hour, they might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex. Because why else would you bother to print all that out? One document, or 100, looks the same on the datapad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file on hand. Makes them think you know them better than their priest, their mother, their big brother. I wasn't going to say that. So how many of those sheeps were blank then? No red carpet tonight, officers? Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. I'm assuming yellow to yellow outline. Lovely eye patch look. Curious about what the X's stand for here. Because it looks similar to a military rank designation where it uses chevrons, but the X is side by side, and that could just be a shadow. Yeah, gun holster here. I'm assuming this is the old tired cop, actually. Because the leaning back like this does not seem like old tired rough. That seems like someone who is messing around. Which younger, indignant would match better than old. But we'll see if I'm mistaken on that. We don't keep many extra hands around at these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway. But mostly cheaper. You the lawyer. I am Morgan, Esquire. Pleased to meet you. Same here, counselor. Quassam, London. Okay, no. I got them mixed up. Okay. Just from his name, I know everything about him. His date of birth, his height, his blood type. Curious, one might think, but who cares? First-class homicide detective. Likes photography, dive bars, and bangs. Does that mean like the sound? The hair bangs? Who knows? Dislikes ties. Relatable. Pollen. Does anyone like pollen? Really? And after-hours work messages also nude. Listens to podcasts. His hobby of pencil sketching, and frequently runs late. Damn, get called out just by your name, huh? Why am I dependent? Oh, it's something I learned from the... Well, now we'll do this a bit later. Okay. Qasim, London. This is the good cop, apparently. And the ball of sunshine here is my partner, Farrar Reyes. Okay. A- blood type. Third-class homicide detective. I can never remember if a lower number or higher number is better for rank. Let's see. Likes rice, limes, and automated history. That's... Rice and limes are a strange thing to both be in the likes column. Especially because it applies like this is top 3 likes. Dislikes liars, small plates, and cheap people. Enjoys watching product reviews. Ugh. I'm not speaking ill of her taste, it's just like, I can't see that. Bad at games of chance. Her right eye is an Osiris Elite, 86. Ball of sunshine? She certainly is. Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night. It's no trouble. Gave me time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco? What are you, 80? Rude. She can't be more than a few years younger than me. We're, the detectives in charge of this particular case. And it looks like tonight we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologies in advance for any cobwebs. Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouses before. He never struck me as more than just some old-timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in of itself in his profession. Sunshine is definitely a new face, though. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe? 2 whole detectives working at these hours. Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene. No, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms respond to the emergency calls within a few minutes. Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion. Let's look around. You think we're the first to arrive for anything? She's not wrong. We were only tapped after circumstances at the scene indicated involvement with an ongoing investigation. Our ongoing investigation. Not very subtle, is she? I may as well bite at this point. And before biting, I am going to refresh my drink a bit. Because I'm fighting a headache and emotional exhaustion from work. We're going off, what is this, Mr. Pibb? Oh, sorry, Dr. Thunder. Just because there's a better sale on the big packs at 24. Last time I went grocery shopping. There we go. Every drop in the cup so I can use a straw. So you suspect this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity. Wait, did they really not? No, I guess they wouldn't put in a public defender's briefing. Oh, look, consider this a little professional courtesy. Fair warning, yeah. That's the heartbreak killer in that room. And we've got the bastard dead to rights. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass the shitstorm on to some other night owl and go back to bed. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. So, perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak killer. Okay, no new info. Interesting. So I'm assuming, with the fact that one of the things I've heard is that Morgan is some sort of serial killer, I'm assuming this is us. And we're playing nonchalance like, yeah, I'm unfamiliar with this particular case. Go ahead, tell me. Cover utilities, the rock you live under? Is there a problem? You're seriously not familiar with HK? Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. The name has been plastered all over the city for weeks. Their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals, flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, the media, on the net, everyone's indulging the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. Fuck yes, Morgan, I am with you on this. True crime podcasts are a fucking bane to the entertainment industry. God damn it. It's like, look, I understand some people just like hearing about crimes in particulars and enjoy indulging in fantasy to go, you know, what if this had happened or that had happened or what have you. But it's they're almost as common as fucking VTubers at this point. I say as a PNG tuber on Twitch. But it's like there's so many, and even if it's broad ones with a different case every week, or short run podcasts that follow particular cold cases, it's like there are too many viewers who think listening to a true crime podcast is like they get to participate in the mystery and the research and whatnot, and that's, I mean, it's not false advertising, except the few times they seem to actually advertise it as such. It's like, don't you want to be part of the group that's helping figure this out? It's like, no, because you're not. It's a cold case for a reason. A bunch of people speculating with a podcast and only able to research things secondhand because it's so old a case you can't go to the crime scene and get anything relevant. You can't trust testimony because, you know, years and years or decades have passed since. It's like, no, you're not gonna do anything but conjecture. If the police didn't get the evidence, they either didn't want to, or more likely if they were incompetent and didn't try hard enough. They found a stooge, and when they failed to actually get them, you know, it fell through. Mini rant aside. But right now I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. When it comes to cops, I always get better as adults playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender. Was the killer part that tipped you off? You must have at least heard about his MO. Media's gone crazy with it. Along with everyone else. One bullet straight through the heart. Body left alive where it falls. Hence the name Heartbreak. Not exactly creative, but amidst a swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality. Heartbreak. All unknown criminal, likes killing, disliking favorite color is probably red. Probably not into astrology. Why even have this? A reward suspended due to influx of false reports. That's an interesting fact. What you won't read about online is that all 6 of HK's victims were shot by the same gun, without even needing to reload. Wait, how could they know that, though? Like, honestly, how could they know that? That's what I'm curious about. Because if this was, like, a spree of killings within a short period of time... wait a second. Unless the quote-unquote modern guns of this setting are single shots, or he's referring to an antique that isn't like, I don't know, a fucking laser gun. Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6. That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Hitting the bullseye at the shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that, it's a whole different beast. It takes a certain kind of monster, a real freak. His pulse probably didn't even rise. I see. So both of these are things that are going to predict plot. We're a defense attorney, but we're also playing dumb. I think the playing dumb option is showing sounds horrific, but I think sounds robotic is more like it. That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. How I managed to miss 6 murders. Well, you can only blame yourself for missing 5. Pardon? You're still not getting it? HK6, the victim, was found a few hours ago, when we caught the son of a bitch red-handed. So, you're convinced that my client is his heartbreak killer, and tonight was just his latest crime. That's a serious accusation with very serious consequences. That, I'm supposed to be able to save from here, right? Ah, there. Yeah, sure, why not? Back. Oh, I can go to the backlog from here, too. Wait a second. What's the store? What? What are these? Do these actually affect the plot or something? Because I assume these are using the social credit. Sorry, not social credit, the investigation credit stuff. Neko Morgue, role-playing the demo. Naka Reyes. I assume... I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with these. Oh, whatever. You have serious evidence to back that up? Pfft, I was being literal counselor. Red-handed. When we found your client, he was covered in her blood. Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds compelling. Is that lawyer talk for open and shut? But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? And also, better question, the whole, not MO, their method is shooting someone through the heart. How would they do that in such a way that their hands are literally covered in the blood? Like, that seems very assumptionary. Assumptionary? I'm making up a word for just how stupid it is. But it's like, the point of a gun is that you do it from a distance. If they're only so robotic, so precise to one shot the heart every time, is it really not that impressive if you're doing it like just pressing the gun right up against them? Or even from just inches away? I'm talking too fast for the captions, whatever. how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? It's all there in the discovery files. And the arcs, of course. Oh. Augmented Reality Crime Scene, abbreviated as ARCS, is an investigative tool in which data harvested from the sensors worn on first responders is used to reconstruct a digital copy of a pristine crime scene. I know this is supposed to be futuristic tech, cyberpunk setting bullshit. But maybe it's because I've, seen the rise and plateau and fall and further plateau, further falling of AI. You can never fully trust digital copies. It's always going to be imperfect. There's going to be some assumptions in there. Because unless you were there actively recording when a thing happened, you can't know what it was like. You can hope, you can reduce margin of error by a lot, but even with a 1% margin of error, you can fuck up a lot of shit with false positives or worse, false negatives. But yeah, let's see. Programmed and distributed by a small number of tech corporations, and frequently modified or even personalized by local municipalities, ARCS systems are used by every major police force, most insurance investigators, and many law firms. After its introduction in the early 2060s, the technology briefly came under public scrutiny when the independent news organization United Mediacasters released a series of reports claiming that ARCS data was regularly edited by corrupt officials to erase state secrets. These reports were later found to be fake, and UMC was exposed as a subsidiary of a cell corporation within Landerworks Solutions, who were marketing a number of alternatives to ARCS technology at the time. So here's the thing. Let's play devil's advocate here. They're claiming that United Mediacasters had a report claiming that corrupt officials were editing ARCS data to erase state secrets. If the corruption was that deep, would it not stand to reason that they could also make that report look false, make fake evidence to, counter that? And also, Bringo, welcome. In case you're unfamiliar, we are playing Of the Devil, kind of like cyberpunk's dystopia Ace Attorney. And we're very suspicious about this report we got, which at the whole looks to be this program called ARCS recreates crime scenes from the information gotten by first responders who've seen their body cams and what have you, and I'm fucking doubting it. Mostly because this part claimed there was a report finding that corrupt officials erased state secrets and edited info in those later turned out to be false. Which, if it was legitimate, of course there would be a narrative where it turns out to be false because corrupt officials pushing their corrupt policies and whatnot. And having, an alternative, especially a company trying to, be the alternative, they'd be an easy scapegoat and a way to take down the competition. Board members at Lambda denounced the actions of said cell and offered assistance to their former competitors in suing leadership at UMC, but the proceedings and settlements in those lawsuits remain sealed. That actually makes more suspicious that my theory here is correct, that this is a false counter and that they did not actually falsify it. Yeah, I do like it. We'll see how smart I am to actually, do it. I've already made the mistake of giving my wrong birthday to a fucking robot hologram thing. But let's see, stuff you recently missed. We learned that our client that we've come here, middle of the night, is suspected to be a serial killer known as the Heartbreak Killer. So named because they have such precise shooting skills, they pretty much are instantly destroying the heart with a single shot. Don't need multiple firings, don't need to even reload. One shot, one kill. Not all that impressive, hitting the heart, because, any damage to a heart will fucking wreck you. without, like, immediate medical attention. Damage from a gun, there's... You better be, like, feet away from an operating room, really. But yeah. Let's see. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn over everything you need. This... I know it's supposed to be like cyberpunk dystopia, but a fucking police station having a local connection for people who just come in the station willy-nilly. That feels too dumb, even for cops. It feels like a closed network terminal thing, where it's like people can only interact with the terminal. There's like a separate process for a terminal to access the rest of the network. That would probably be a bit more safe, security-wise. Let's see, I'll bet. Thanks for that, detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all detained, could I ask you some questions while I've got you here? The hell kind of attorney wants to interrogate the detectives? Well, before we interrogate detectives, okay, no new info here. So we'll look at the arcs later. This kind of attorney? You're just that pleasant. Yes, this absolute ball of sunshine here. Come on, sunshine. Not like we're going to be punching out anytime soon, right? Whatever. Let your client sue in interrogation all night for all I care. You mean the counseling quarters? We're at your disposal, counselor. Okay, first let's look around. What have we got? We can inspect there, read. What's this? No, nothing to see there. Observe. Okay, we'll start with reading this. The latest noble androids receive warm welcome. Bolstered by strong earnings report and surging sales, the Animate 16 Noble Electronics stock rose a stunning 3% this week to a new record high. While Noble's latest iteration has yet to surpass the sheer popularity of its predecessors, an increased profit margin has left Noble shareholders very enthused. Many investors were skeptical when their now infamous 2084 trade convention, Noble announced that the 16th line would be the first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic components, so-called warm androids, which at the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and childcare sectors. Were looked down upon as impractical due to increased maintenance cost, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the like. And while some critics voiced concerns that fringe religious or traditionalist groups might find warm androids controversial, more business-focused minds feared that Noble was alienating its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian consumers, users that viewed their androids from across the room and not from above the factory floor. However, as has often been the case in the last decade, Noble's doubters were proven wrong. The Animate 16 is poised to break profitability records, with no signs of slowing down, and many industry analysts predict that these once rare organic androids will completely replace their more robotic predecessors in daily life within the next 3 to 5 years. Before I continue, this spacing here bugs me. Kerning, goddamn it, is a curse to learn, because the more you notice it, the more you hate noticing it. But this looks like 2 spots. My gut reaction wants to say 3, but that's probably just like 50% more because of how much I hate bad kerning now. Anyway. As described in the earnings report, much of the 16th line's success, and indeed the success of Noble's androids in general, can be attributed to the remarkable, lifelike, personable charm of their products. And by all accounts, that charm can be attributed to the work of Noble's famed lead programmer, Dr. David Usher. Should I pronounce it like that, or should I put more emphasis on the Asher? I'm going to go with Usher, like assurance. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century, said Noble brand ambassador Lucy Dees. Dees nuts. On stage at their latest Noble Industry Weekend. It's because of his Turing solution that every noble product, from the sleekest assistants to the most advanced intensive care technicians, are so beloved and trusted by our customers. While his reputation was on full display at the event, Dr. Assure himself was nowhere to be seen. He's always been reclusive, but he's become a genuine hermit in recent years. Are we really to believe he's still... Hey fam, looks like you're not logged into this device. Want to put in your account info so we can help you keep reading? Oh god, that's annoyingly realistic there. He's in the news again. It's no wonder. Can't spit without landing on a piece of noble tech these days. Especially not where the state's involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids, though. For government use, they're just... I'm gonna go with too frail. Yeah, because that was a concern of the article. That they're a lot more wear and tear. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Also, it's a fucking choice to make a humanoid-looking robot bleed a color so similar to blood. Even bright neon pink, it's still like, ooh. Okay, let's start with this terminal. Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Reyes' desk. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mote of personalization. Is she so new she hasn't had time to unpack? Or is she really that uptight and boring? Both, maybe. Rude, but funny. You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system. Or even just a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better on paper. I'll give him that. Why can't I? I thought I'd be able to actually talk to them. But yeah, I guess we'll go observe. Loose wires, missing panels, an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to probably cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expect to find a lot of belt-tightening at Homicide. I didn't think their operation work would be this bare bones. They've got a stunning clearance rate and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy, but with our dear doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork. But if your wheels don't squeak, you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only State Department with a shrinking budget. This is the most utopian aspect I've heard of this setting so far. Shrinking budget for police. Oh. Just perish the thought. But yeah, this... It does make a good point, though. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you don't... It's a lot easier to see when things are going badly than when they're going good. A good, clean public restroom, you're probably not going to remember too much. But a really bad, disgusting restroom will stick with you for days. It will be mentioned in fucking personal reviews of the location. And so, upper management will care more about when shit is not getting done, but never notice if you have the most pristine location on God's green earth. Brango in Noida just got gunned down by a Standari with rapid-fire shotgun wand. That is quite a description of a device. A rapid-fire shotgun wand. I'm now imagining like the wand equivalent of a what is that? The fully automatic shotgun in the Expendables movie verse that the Terry Crews' character uses, which is phenomenal, but also such an aesthetic when applied to a wand use. So sorry about you getting gunned down, but what a way to go. It's like, how shall we bury them? Like any good Swiss cheese in a garbage bag. At least if that were me. Well, let's see. Okay, dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. Okay. Nothing else jumps out at me around here. I've got a better idea of who I'm dealing with, at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. Should have been sent a link. You have been granted access to state files regarding case KL 433511. Reply C to confirm. Confirm. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I am an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preferences. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. C. It's case sensitive. C. Thank you. link.uxi/4335511. Alright, if I project from my phone. Ooh, fancy. So use room to authenticating, downloading, initialize. Okay. Augmented reality crime scene. Interesting. Okay, it wouldn't let me actually choose yet. Before going with this, let's see. So basically, the only group of the police that has a slightly legitimate reason to exist is the one with no budget. Yeah, kinda. Though I guess... Wait, let me see. Profiles. And, okay, yeah, they are detectives. So yeah, of all the members of the police force, you should make sure have a decent budget. Maybe a little extra, but not much. Are getting staff. Sorry, getting the staff. But I mean, part of the setting is that, like, there are cameras fucking everywhere. Every screen, every LED, every street corner. You are being observed. Big Brother doing all the job for you. And that's actually a reference they make. City constantly watching like a big brother, a big sister, a mother, a father, and the other detective going in, Big Brother? I wasn't going to say it, but... yeah. Alright, let's see what the police have. And what they think is important. Okay. So, well, let's me examine those. Not this overturned chair. I assume this is part of the decor of the actual setting. Like the broom, because that's like personal stuff. Let's start with this window/door looking thing. Oh, a stand-up mirror. Shattered and knocked over. Real glass. No screens or cameras here. It was hit hard. Hard enough to come unattached from its arm while shards of glass were scattered. Far enough to land on the victim's body. One sec. Why are glass shards... Okay, that's evidence. Got it. Glass from broken stand mirror. Said mirror was a low-tech furnishing with no digital components. Enough force to scan. Got it. Pretty much the stuff she just pointed out in text. So that's just memories for later, I suppose. What a miss. Ringo, are you getting the impulse to recommend the game Lobotomy Corporation? Well, from what I've seen of you playing it, I can see the vibes, for sure. Okay, inspect. This seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point. And yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. mean, the statement obviously isn't slam it over someone's head, like many a breakaway vase. Not sure what that's doing. We're not going to look at the gun yet. The outline. The victim's body. Cause of death, ballistic trauma. Class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta. Single gunshot wound to the heart in brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, and no blood or skin under her nails. Blood spatter, forensics, and all that other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. But sequel Brunia gave up before being all, yeah. It's, let's see. Just check to see if there's anything. It wasn't said. Oh, there's some handwriting at the bottom of the scanned document. Same handiwork as the previous 5. Lab message to confirm ballistics match 2. Oh, and that's something I forgot to tell you. The Heartbreak Killer, with such insane accuracy, bullet through the heart and whatnot. This is the suspected 6th victim. Oh yeah, Runia was not for me. It took too much planning that I did not have the attention span for. Okay, we don't need to look at... Oh, wait. That's right. Do that so it's marked as red already. Good. Finally, the gun. The murder weapon. A revolver found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers. I mean, the gun's been fired 6 times. Looks like crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he's found by the police. The murder weapon right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. That's all the big ticket items. What about the security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age, in a neighborhood like this. But no signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris. Debris? Technician's note, flag as irrelevant on next pass. That's very lazy, to be honest. Flags are relevant. That's their technical assessment? Guess even crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Okay. That's everything that the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? What's this? Like, that's not part of the mirror, right? Unless that's supposed to be like the stand it was on? Well, no, because it's implied that they were shot through here, hit that, dropped down. So what's this? Oh, that's why it lit up. The hell is that? Something in the victim's hand? How the hell did... It's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and triprexazone. A synthetic glucocorticoid medication. Taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. The autopsy said her tox screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and it still wouldn't change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Everything else here is all very incriminating. But the kicker's everything that's not here. No out-of-place DNA. Footprints, crumbs. What's this mean? Internet of Things. This seems relevant for us to have learned it right then. Internet of Things refers to the networked data sharing that goes on between all the countless electronics that we monitor ourselves with. Phones, computers, security systems, biofeedback devices, and, of course, automated dependence, all comprise small but vital parts of this network. Without the Internet of Things' ability to collect, process, and share information, massive opportunity costs build up as individuals, governments, and private businesses miss out on the valuable insight that data has to offer. Oh, boo-hoo! They want cookies on every app and geolocation always on. Fuck them. One of the coolest ways that the Internet of Things improves our lives is through the usage of crumbs. Small packets of data containing your own unique identifying information. Throughout your day, as your own IoT devices say hi to other devices, they'll leave behind crumbs as a parting gift. Crumbs allow for paperless identification and payment, and help the government manage human and vehicular traffic. So before moving on, the use of crumbs kind of replacing cookies is interesting. It's like the slang for money being dough and bread being so similar. It could be coincidence. I don't know the origin of the two as terms for currency, but it's similar enough. It's very interesting. Let's see. Crumbs let you see where you've been so that you can see where you should go. Want to start leaving crumbs right away? Don't worry, crumbs are enabled by default. Not interested in sponsored search results? See further with a premium account. Any a lot of court form? Yeah, no worries. And actually, you know what? Automated dependent just got mentioned recently too. So let's see, what is this? Abbreviated as ad and refers to in common conversation as capital A ad like math or ads. Automated dependent is a catch-all term encompassing robots, intelligent programs, interactive holograms, and androids. Ads are present both digitally and physically in every industry and nation on the planet, assisting in everything from data management to physical labor. I'm starting to get some iRobot vibes. Not the movie with Will Smith, which is fun. I'm referring to the actual Isaac Asimov novel, which is similar, but a lot more pointed in how it treats the use of mechanical labor and artificial intelligence to replace human in the actual chain of command. Let's get a second out. I mean, if you'd like, I appreciate the trying to keep my stand-in and body core relevant, but you do you. Whatever is the most strategic choice, I will not feel bad about it, but I do appreciate it. Let's see. In the mid-21st century, lobbyists pushed through new tax classifications to define intelligent machines that were neither salaried employees nor mere equipment. Because it afforded tax breaks and lighter tariffs, the term became so commonly used that it spread to all branches of the robotics industry, from which point it began to penetrate into everyday speech and pop culture. A lava level. Such a fun sounding level, and not at all as dangerous as I'm sure I actually am. Let's see. Let's see. Some sociologists argue that the term owes its popularity not simply to its brevity and prevalence, but to its ability to draw a distinction between the commonplace, robots, androids, smart UIs, and so on, and the internationally illegal artificial intelligences. Searching for this term may incur an account flag. Read more about how we cooperate with authorities to combat disinformation here. This seems like the most unrealistic part of this bit. A company being upfront about how they're going to share anything that seems criminal with the police. Fuck you in particular. But okay. Evidence. Let's see. Cases clasps are surprisingly difficult to open. That might become relevant. The revolver has flats, left-hand fingerprints on it. Wow. And the vase. Underrock ceramic, really sturdy, remains frictionless. Okay. Nothing that points towards anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less before. Oh. Okay, so it's just a summary of what we found. Shot came from doorway. No unexpected DNA, no crumbs, no fingerprints, and no evidence of digital tampering. But not much more for. Oh. I'm really gonna have to sing for my supper this time. Better get started. Who the hell's messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is, I suppose it could be something important. We have them on our phone as just Brat. Oh, I'm enjoying this character already. But couldn't wait until morning. Good news, of course. Got a job for you. That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole. Oh, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and a phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. That is not what I was expecting. What? Is this a child? Why are we on... So, well, no, I kind of see why we might be on such terms, though. It sounds like they violated parole multiple times before, and we have been their go-to lawyer. Okay. Let's see where this goes. Not that kind of lawyer. Sorry. Hey, at least let me finish. What do they do? Make me run laps? Not illegal. Let me finish! They made me run laps. Even though I said I had a stomachache. Said. Gotta be like youth endangerment. Depraved indifference or some kind of shit. Sounds like you already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. Considering this is supposed to be like cyber dystopia with like cameras everywhere, an image this shitty is a work of art. Is that your mugshot? I wasn't gonna not get a copy of my own mugshot and use it as a reaction. Glad you found a use case. But I'm working right now, so anything cool. Homicide. Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it HBK? That's actually interesting. I thought you said HBK, but the cops have been shorting it to just HK for Heartbreak Killer. Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about? Teens my age. Okay, so they're 13, I assume. That reads as someone who just reached the teens. And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines, old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is like quaint. It's not heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job? You see the 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? Taking up lost cause, pro bono's work. It's pro bono. That was autocorrect. Really? Like, I can understand autocorrect having issues with Latin if you're normally using English, but pro bonos. I don't think I want to know their internet history. You know they give lit homework. You know they give lit homework for a reason, right? This is borderline concerned nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Or just a sucker. I'm not a sucker. Nice phrasing, lol. You should go to bed, Fran. Tomorrow's Sunday. I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday. What's with the carpe diem shit? It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. You've got school in like 3 hours. Shit! Get dunked on, Brad. Repeat offenders may be good for business. That kid's bad for my blood pressure. Important text message, I take it. Just your typical teenage drama. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. Okay, so none of this is going to end this conversation. Androids and cops. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? I thought there'd be at least a few androids around. Aren't many androids in any police station this week. Not while the brass is renegotiating contracts. Contracts with Noble? Good guess. Hardly. They're the biggest. Hardly. They're the biggest robotics corp there is. Could spend all day in Center City without leaving their office's shadow. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. Saves us some money on shipping, at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month. Even with Noble pushing those warm androids. Warm. Ugh. Might as well call it the adult line. Might see them in the bigger departments or out on patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet. Yet? Really? Yet? You really think that'll happen? We already use ads for patrolling, securing the scene, pacifying crowds. Doesn't seem like that big a stretch to me. You're joking, right? Android detectives. With all the pain we go through getting witnesses to talk to us. With your warm personality, I can't imagine, Reyes. Cop knocks on your door, start asking questions, you're going to be put in a bad mood. An ad knocks on your door, calls you a degenerate criminal in a synthesized voice, loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. You're going to start posting shit that'll get you put on a list. Well, we certainly don't want that. But flesh and blood witnesses are becoming less and less common anyway. Cameras, sensors, satellites, we already get all our facts from machines. Get a few more years, it might make sense to let machines do the investigating too. The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen. She'd need to have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Ugh. Oh, that's the most disgusting thing I've heard. The only union, let alone the only air-quote real one, is for cops? Again, I say, ugh. Okay, let's go to the details. So, how about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with? Your client, Carlos Baker Flat, was arrested on the scene at 9:50. Well, let's take a look at him. Flat. No image yet. Kind of messy hair. Looks like some kind of coat. Lab coat, trench coat, who knows. Civil disturbance. Twice. And that's all their criminal record, but no charges. They registered at birth. I'm not sure what that means. They have industrial mods and of a class 4 variety. Interesting. Well, actually, because I haven't done it in a bit, let's just save, be safe. Using his middle name already. I really do think he's a serial killer. The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, a Miss Diane Dawn. first degree. That's increasingly rare, to say the least. It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes and passion around here. Said he's got damn near more cameras than people. You gotta be really, really stupid to try and get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times. So what's that make him? 5 times. And that makes him insane. I was gonna go with extraordinary. Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nutjobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So what makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? Registered birth probably means records start when he's born. Let me see. With that context, possibly. I could potentially see it. It feels a little weird grammatically, but I mean, cyberpunk dystopia, some words are going to be used weird, like crumbs instead of cookies. Warm-up. 5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Well, we need some context. Digital autopsy. Oh, sorry, that's the evidence. Not what I was looking for. Search terms. Digital autopsy. The law enforcement process of locating, bypassing authentication on, and investigating all of a deceased individual's online profiles. Commonly used to seek out possible connections to suspects or other victims. I don't like this. And it's not just because there is some great fun to be had with the trope of blast requests being destroy my computer, erase my search history, etc., etc. This is some fucked up shit. Yes, you're dead. Well, nothing is sacred, so we're going to look through all your private DMs. Ever. Ugh. The widely utilized practice has been scrutinized in the past by some privacy advocates, but many victims' families who lack the ability to find, let alone access, all their deceased loved ones' accounts argue for its necessity. Comparable processes are offered as a paid service by some legal or funerary groups to help next of kin recover or delete sensitive personal data. At times, these services have been marketed as a defense against data criminals, attempting to steal the identities of the dead before their accounts are wiped by state processes. Users also frequently search for grave cobbling, how to stop stolen identity, or how to delete dead profile. Grave cobbling is an interesting term. Okay. So digital autopsy is just all the private information in their accounts. Let's see, nothing connecting the victims. So this serial killer chose his victims at random? They have nothing in common. Yeah, nothing in common at all. Other than that, they all look like cousins. Ooh, interesting. So potentially clones of some sort? Wait, but I assume no connections at all would also refer to, like, blood work being compared, right? The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women, brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight. Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't be a coincidence. If you really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You're really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance? A young woman. Brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is from a portrait, but I can take the hint. So you think, what, exactly? And Carlos Flad wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly. He went out and shot 5 other women first. Hey, if the shoe fits. If the shoe fits, then you put the shoe on the... No, please, continue, Reyes. What sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences. Like yelling at the cashier at the grocery store. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by first practicing on these other similar women. Or he's just so far gone he can't tell the difference anymore. It's not the worst theory in the world, but it doesn't fit. They want to claim that those previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. If that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal, execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. And also, if those were practice runs, how'd he get fucking caught with the murder weapon, blood on his hands, and feet away from the body? You'd think if those were practice runs, he would have gunned her down somewhere similar to other victims, where he wouldn't be so easily discovered. Let alone given not nearly enough time to run. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile, if you ask me. Okay, so maybe we're not the heartbreak killer, like I was assuming earlier. Okay, so timeline. Saw the time of death was 9 p.m. on the autopsy. Do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events? Can't trust much of what comes out of his mouth. But we've managed, thanks to less biased sources. And we're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements. So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds barely similar to real police work. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another, starting around 8 p.m. Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us all about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. As you probably gathered from what you saw in the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. But things go quiet sometime before 9 p.m. And then, there's gunshots. Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. What we heard from enough concerned citizens be pretty damn sure about the time. Right. Emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9 p.m. No one seemed to recognize the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming. Officers arrive on the street at 9:08, establish a perimeter, enter through the open front door at 9:10 p.m. Then they find your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. No, that was evidence, gotcha. At which point they move to secure the scene and the suspect. Sorry, did you say his hand? Singular? Your client's modded. Cybernetic right arm. How modded are we talking about here? Registered with a HOW 85 habilis. Industrial grade looks like. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 KPA, which means a minimum grip strength of, well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Considering a career change. No, it's not that, it's just... Your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on every time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of fashion. Oh, fucking Christ, Morgan. Antagonize the police, why don't you? You think a cop would cover a predominant eye because it was fashionable? You actually thought the same thing the first time we met. You what? But getting back on track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. You can't work without it. Money got tight. The arguing? Yeah. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before HK's first victim was killed. Well, no chance they'll be willing to chalk that up to coincidence. Your client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver. And no one else's. A revolver? What kind? The old kind. The real kind. More specifically, a caliber M54, 6-chambered, 10mm. Caliber? How retro. Caliber firearms, and manufacturer civilian. Bought out by Thortec, acquisitions group specializing in security and national defense. Now a subsidiary of the Kuhn Defense Organization. Let me just oh, that's it. Born ever since 2060, iconic brand was briefly revived in 2071 in the second quarter. Series of video game memorabilia tie-in promotions meant to increase in-game item sales before being discontinued in the third quarter for failing to increase in-game item sales. Wow. Who'd have thunk it? Okay. You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags. No tags? How is that? Just how old are we talking here? Yeah. 24/7 location data. Timestamp trigger pulls. Safeties coded to owner biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags have made shooting crimes very unambiguous. So you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes? How else do you think he'd have gotten away with this 5 other times? If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably fail the very first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in. So then, M54, that's model year 2054. 30-year-old gun. Oh, that sure complicates things, doesn't it? In some ways, sure. But pre-tagging firearms are rare. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still compatible bullets. The ammunition would have to be over 30 years old, too. The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far, but now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good. Archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig. But with the protocols they found, the techs were able to match the rifling marks in all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Rifling marks? Bullets fired from guns that old are marked by the barrel's shape. So if all 6 bullets have the same rifling marks, we know that they were all fired by the same gun. It's not as plug-and-play as tags are, but it's equally precise as science, I assure you. Maybe. I like how precise science became iron-size shirt. That's funny. Okay, but honestly, they're not. That's actually a myth that a lot of like movies and police dramas and some detective things build up, but it's not that precise. There's certainly ways to change that. For example, someone dedicated enough could fuck with the rifling after doing the killing. So that way, if someone suspects it's you and your gun who did it, they can fire a few rounds to test and compare and come up with an incorrect answer. But also, it does depend on, from what I recall, some of the materials. Not like the quality of it, but like different manufacturers might have different defects that will change how the rifling would present itself. Especially if rifling is machined as precisely as it is nowadays, there's going to be a lot of guns out there with very similar rifling, and with the exact same, schematic, it's going to have very similar well, rifling marks only fired bullets. And if that's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber, without even needing to reload. The cavalry your client was found with is the gun HK used to kill 6 women. No way to lawyer around that. An untagged gun. Just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize then, you believe that my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend. That he retrieved this weapon and shot her? Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his effect? Quiet, detached, stiff. Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner. That reaction may have lost in points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. And so long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. Finally, heartbreak the killer. Check my phone here, and I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK's crimes a secret. Oh. Hey there, it looks like you're trying to search for a term related to an ongoing investigation. Until authorities have made their findings public, results may be heavily curated or temporarily unavailable. Read more about how we cooperate with authorities to combat disinformation here. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics, trying to piece together a story. Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read. It's not just journalists, though. All kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK has managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks. Can you blame them, though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gotten away with... We know what he's gotten away with. Take a look around us, Detective. National DNA registries, robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen. Violent crime at an all-time low and clearance rate at all-time highs. But... you're gonna spout some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... Good point. London's trying to look like he can laugh it off. But pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need... to see someone charged. That makes them predictable. Yeah, that's totally a normal thought for a lawyer, a public defender to have. Yeah, well, even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department's SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details. What is SOP? Standards of operation? No. Standard operation no. I'm not gonna figure it out. I'm too dumb for it. That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they can get. But we can't take all the credit this time around. Standard operating procedure, that's it. Okay. I knew it was familiar in a way that I should know, but I couldn't think of it. Thank you, Marengo. Homicides tight-knit and tight-lipped, but... it's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place. And why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. Ooh, what is that? Opt-in... I guess that's optics here? Oh, abbreviated to optics, got it. Is a partnership program between the state and private enterprises that allows for the free sharing of surveillance and security data to better promote and preserve public safety. The quotation marks are doing a lot of heavy lifting. Accessible through state employee logins or private partner accounts, Optics Smart UI allows users to search through and collate footage from a city of tens of millions in just a few simple keystrokes. Optics is frequently cited in state reports as one of the most effective tools for reducing crime, and footage from Optics often serves as key evidence in criminal proceedings, where it is considered admissible by default. See People versus Irabon? Users also frequently search for public safety measures in my area and daily security level. Interesting. How is that even possible? I know that there are some rough areas in the lower boards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You think we'd have let him kill 6 people if we did? I understand your concern, ma'am, but Optics is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance systems signing up to feed into the state security network. It's not perfect. Just another one of the many public safety tools in our belt. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to help us solve crimes. Or at least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Fat chance. Deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved. But the end result is that there are occasional, localized blackouts. And the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict. I see. But those windows of opportunities are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You'd need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned it if my client was a cop, and it wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing. That just leaves city planning. So does he work construction for the city? HK's only ever struck at times and locations where Optics would be down. Even with the devil's own luck. It can't possibly be coincidence. Wait, so you're saying when this woman was killed, yeah, there's blackout from around 8 to 9 at night. We're right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match? There's been no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA at any of the crime scenes. No footage and no forensics. Also no motives, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon. Until now. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. Scanners, cams, drones, forensics. No matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK is the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. Ooh, nice. The maxing unstoppable duo in the botany corp at least. When it comes to streaming, not so much, but hey, I'm just here for a good time, not a profitable time. Let's see. The only reason we even come tonight was because he finished what he had set out to do all along. Did he? Or she? So, was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects. We questioned some X's, a few CIs, someone even spoke to 1 or 2 unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was talk about starting on some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come of that. There's just not enough there to work with. In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have, to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough for now. Though, personally, as a public defender, I would have one question. Though maybe not for the detectives now that I think about it. The fights were, supposedly, over how money was tight between this suspect and their girlfriend. How the fuck were they able to afford a 30-year-old antique of a gun with no tags on it? Like, that seems suspicious. That'd mean it'd have to be premeditated since before money was an issue, to some extent. Like, why would you risk money, something that is causing arguments at home, a mere 8 days? And this is apparently, like, months after. Maybe not too many, 3 or 4, but that's a lot. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? Hey, it's only our job to catch the bastard. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Sounds like you're a little sore about that point, Reyes. Besides, we're not exactly going to have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt. And why is that? Because we found a handwritten confession at his desk. Why the fuck would he do that? Well, that's, unexpected. Wait a second, why wouldn't that be in the ARC report? The recording of all the evidence as it was in the room, why would they have made a note of the note? Also, Brazen, welcome in. Morning. Yeah, we're playing a public defender of a suspected serial killer who supposedly got caught killing the 6th person in their line of serial killings, their girlfriend, and then stuck around this 6th time with blood on their hand to be arrested. It's 5 a.m. Definitely morning. Yeah, I get that. Although lately every day it feels like it's a morning kind of morning. I see myself out with that pun. I'm sorry. You're now telling me that he wrote a confession. Has it been verified? Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get to the front of that line. Why bother? The note's covered in his fingerprints. There's a copy in the discovery data, but I should warn you, it doesn't exactly make for light reading. Brenda's saying, with quotes, however, the world is more than warmth and light. Not sure what you're referencing there. Let's see, I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. I'm not in control. I hurt people without meaning to. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to do it at first. But I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too, but didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough. I know that now. I'll take responsibility and do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me. Oh, it's a new abnormality. In LobCore, I assume? Okay, but here's the thing. This is ambiguous. It's not like he's saying, man, I'm gonna kill you, just like I did the other 5 girls or something. So here's what I think. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first. I think the limb that's broken is specifically, like, the digits, the fingers. Just because I could see that being the plural, but also being very finicky to change if this limb is supposed to be good for like very heavy, secure equipment. They have to be very precise. They were meant for dexterous work, I think it said. So yeah. Yeah, I can return. So let's see, in a flat. Yeah, industrial modification. Industrial and dexterous base. It would definitely be finicky. Let's see, that was a difficult read. Barely legible, in fact. Well, gotta spin on that. Oh shit, it's the other half of the dragon. Oh shit, both halves of the dragon are next to each other. Well, Baringo, I wish you luck slaying a full dragon split into two halves, but within the same setting? Something like that. No need. But it's a confession. Not a confession that he signed, though, is it? Not yet. And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he asked for representation. Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer, and got you. Guess you're both lucky. Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. But I'm not so flush with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. But he's not still handcuffed in there, is he? Look, Counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to that man being responsible for 6 murders. 2 hours or so in cuffs isn't cruel or unusual. And that's for your safety as well. It's kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger. Bring you their neighboring containment units? Okay, that's not so bad, maybe? Until they escape. He's killed 6 women. None of them were redheads. Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off, if you don't mind. Mike's on or off is your call, Counselor. But we'll be watching the feed from right outside, in case anything happens. And the cuff, that is, stays on. That worried about me? How chivalrous. Brazen Barda, have no idea about this case, but the confession letter sounded more like someone regretted breaking property, not injuring people. Oh, right, yeah. You weren't here for the info. So, this client is suspected of being a serial killer. One who has killed 5 clients before this night, currently the 6th being his girlfriend. All of them look the same, roughly the same height, same brown hair, brown eyes. And it's suspected to be him because he recently injured a prosthetic arm he had. And the first of the killings happened a little over a week after that arm was put in the shop. And while it was in the shop, money became tight. Arguments with his girlfriend were heard throughout the apartment complex shortly after the same time frame of putting the arm up in the shop. So, actually, with your fresh eyes analyzing that, that might be a very important thing. Because I didn't think about property either. We don't know he works in construction, but we suspect from what we have learned. Interesting. Sorry, there's an article we read earlier about some of the setting. Where would it be? Green list, I think. Nope. Oh, subways abandoned, yes. Okay, recent news, subway tunnels were floods, engineers. City engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair were being suspended indefinitely. And we think this guy might be in civil engineering. What if this recent announcement is not, as suspected later, being a distraction by the current mayor? But maybe he's part of a project to try and, actually unflood the subway to fix the damage, but he fucked up. He broke something that made it impossible. That would be a very interesting call forward by the game. I would be very impressed if that is true. Yeah. My armor's practically blinding. Gross. I'll start out the unlock cycle. He didn't mean to break it and he has a bus press that arm? Yes. Yeah, that's why after you pointed out the being property thing, it made me think back to the whole subway thing and how civil engineering is working on that. It feels like whatever he broke also broke him, if you are correct on the property rather than himself. Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I'd suggest you help him sign that confession. Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. But the defense part of a defense attorney isn't just for show, detective. I mean it. 6 people dead is one thing, but he's also caused weeks of widespread terror and public unrest. Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. Oh, our color's drained a little bit. That's a capital crime if there ever was one. And even if the death penalty's not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not going to like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. The lack of background music is very unsettling here. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person, and it's being challenged before the Supreme Court. Yeah, sometime the next decade, maybe. Just remember, a plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but if it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client, right? Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty. That much is true. It saves the courts a great deal of time and money, and they show their gratitude with reduced sentencing. But no one will ever be grateful towards a heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life. 3:35 a.m., June 5th, 2086. Okay, before we hear anything out of his mouth, interesting outfit. The kind of roughness of the shirt definitely feels like someone who got into, like, maybe a physical altercation before coming here. This bit... Oh, that's the missing arm, so I assume it's to help cover the port or whatever for the limb. Kind of messy hair, but also fits how he was picked up. Got an earring. Some light scarring, it looks like. Honestly, kind of general appearance, at least the customers I get at my gas station. It's depressing as hell in here. They need to liven this place up. I like how the light really brightens up as she comes in. Carlos Flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. We've got a lot to cover. But this shouldn't take all night. What are you... Look, I already told you people, I'm not a cop, Carlos. Furthest thing from it. I'm a lawyer. You're a lawyer, in fact, and I'm here to help you. Yeah, well, they said that too. All of them did. Back there. In here, kept repeating it all right over. They said that they were going to help me, that they knew this was all a mistake. Then they said that I killed. Acting like they were on my side. Like they thought I could have... It's not their job to help you, Carlos. But it is mine. And I'm here now. He's still in shock. I need more information. If I approach this wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak. But I'd like you to try and answer a few questions. The police already questioned you already, I'm sure. But they were treating you as a suspect, not as a client. Okay. So, what do you want to know? Alright, first, handy habit, saving when shit like this happens. I have a feeling we won't be able to ask everything. So, I think there's a hint earlier, we don't do this just like jumping the point. So we start about you. Let's start simple. Something mundane, grounded, rote. I'd like to know a bit more about you first, Carlos. Something like, what line of work are you in? I'm with city engineering. Or I was, or I should be. As I thought. Police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackouts using data he stole from work. My arm, I got slighted for the job. And, Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. So, what do I know? He works in city engineering, not a desk job. Reyes said he was modded for work. That arm must be in custody at the moment, but based on his shoulder, it'd have to be pretty utilitarian considering the job. All purpose. Yeah, he doesn't strike me as the type who's enamored with the aesthetics of modding. The young and the restless, and the rich, swapping in neon and chrome limbs, because they like the way it looks. Or the way it makes other people start looking at them. No, he's pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod. Really? I don't even have a brother. He had everything planned out. A whole career path of promotions and bonuses and the upgrades they'd afford him. Then came his 18th birthday present. Test results politely informing him that he's not a viable candidate. That sucks. I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like he was glad he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I think it does. I always figured if I'd start at all, I'd start small. A hand or an eye, test the water. Never thought about lobbing my whole damn arm off, but the recruiter was enthusiastic. He said, because the NCDA, there was financial aid and resources. Of course, that got shit-canned. So now me and every other modder is royally screwed. Couldn't even let me keep the tax credit. The new Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed. But I doubt he'd appreciate the distinction at the moment. I work the tighter spaces, the high-volt environments, mostly canopy upkeep. Typical stuff for modders, you know? He's speaking freely now. Don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep him talking. The right word choice here, or if there can still make a difference. You work on the canopy. You must be under a lot of pressure. You must be under a lot of pressure now that the subways are cordoned off. Damn straight. And this crap with Long. Once word got out that the case against him was real, every desk job in the chain became terrified of their own shadow. All of them convinced that internal affairs is going to come knocking if they misplace so much as a paperclip. Everything by the book means no room for compromise, no room for problem solving, no room for engineering. Yeah. And no patience for screw-ups. He's trying very hard to not look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos? Yeah, that. Rejection issues. Started last month. Ooh. So his arm is not broken. His body is rejecting it. That's a whole nother can of worms. So, the thing he broke in the note is most certainly not the prosthetic. It's in the shop, perhaps in the hope that it'll fix the rejection. A lot of sleepless nights. Rejection? Did the therapy not take? Here, one side. Let's take a look. What is this therapy? Therapy. Process of adjusting human mind body for the unique challenges and stresses that come with cybernetic body modifications. Typically includes physical therapy, mental technique instruction, and sensitivity training. Depending on an individual's viability, or lack thereof, medications and even minor viral tuning may be employed to modify the body's immune response. But improvements made in recent years in medically sterile alloys have greatly reduced the percentage of the patients that require much. Wait a second. Medications even modify. Wait a second. There's a thing. Where is it? Evidence. Where is it? Pill organizer, right. Is found in the victim's grasp. Contains a number of prescription over-the-counter medications. Oh, is he about to tell us that he wasn't able to get, like, the good medication? It's not like that. I wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything. Do these rejection issues have anything to do with your scars? Not in the way you're thinking. I'm right-handed. So those cuts on his face are just from shaving? Never thought this would go on so long and have to relearn how to do everything. I mean, the problem started small, trembling, but then spasms. Just oversensitivity, they said, an easy fix. But the problem got bigger. Couldn't let it get that far. Need to be able to trust your own hands when you're on the job site. Drop a cutter at the wrong moment and people could get hurt. So I sat down, made an appointment, turned in my arm, and watched my case get placed at the back of the damn line. Where did you turn it in? Some mass turnaround chop shop with a waiting list like you wouldn't. It doesn't sound like you're a happy customer. Hell no. I found a dozen other clinics with shorter wait times. As long as I'm renting and not owning. The manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance. Okay, so that's key point of evidence now. How industries have billed us 2085. Impressive grip strength, dexterity, okay, we remembered it correctly. And low cost maintenance. The success of it and its sister products went a long way towards securing state contracts for HOW. Submitted 5 weeks ago at a HOW partnered prosthetic adjustment clinic. Average waitlist duration of 40 business days. Jesus Christ. Due to user-reported sensitivity issues. Interesting. And that's why I'm sitting here with this expensive-ass stump for a shoulder. I haven't been able to work in weeks. Bosses were generous enough to say my position might still be there when I've got 2 working arms again. You couldn't buy or rent a replacement yourself. Just in the meantime, I serve at the pleasure of the state. And they've got exclusivity contracts with Hindi, all locked up white-knuckle tight. Hindi? HOW Industries? As I recall, he's registered one of their habilis models. If I took one step on site with uninsured tech, forget the fines, I'd lose the down payment and my arm. And I'd never work in the city again. If this was last quarter, maybe I could have worked something out with management, but like I said, no one's sticking their neck out for anyone now that Long's in deep hot shit. You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain? Well, actually, wait, was this an update to his profile? Yes. And, just like cabs, musicals, and cashews. What? A poppy flower painkiller reference, maybe? Yeah. Wait. Is scrollable? No. Okay. Making sure I didn't lose anything. Yeah. Yep. Alex cost an arm and a leg just for the down payment. And he only got the arm out of the deal. And first from Little Alchemist work. Well, no, that situation probably works, actually. Anyway. Are you in pain? Pain will come and go. It's the itches that'll kill you. And the phantoms come back pretty fast when I don't have anything. Arm-shaped, attached to me. Did they give you something to... but wear in the meantime? Something the clinics lend out for cases like this. What they gave me is a deadweight, three-jointed, landfill-bait piece of shit! Sorry, it's just... it's a very shitty feeling. Having a part of your body that you know they cut corners on. It fits. It's compatible, technically. I can slot it in and feel on balance again. But the fingers don't even bend, and the quick twitch motors are way off. It's like walking around with your arm asleep. Or dead. So, were you wearing it when you were arrested? No, I wasn't. But I'm pretty sure I saw the police bagging it as evidence, so... haven't gotten too far. Let's take a look. What info? Does it give us anything? I know, just updated, currently in police custody. Got it. So Detective Reyes was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm only. Oh, because at the time in question, he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up about as well as can be expected. This has all just been a warm-up for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part, and I just realized we're about half hour past the planned end, so might as well do an additional half hour. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. How long did you two know each other? Right. I've known her since college. We shared a few classes, some mutual friends. Always got along. Eventually, we just got together at some point. Guess I never actually asked her out in the real formal way. Sounds pretty cowardly saying that out loud. Diane, she was in genetics. Focused her studies on agriculture. It always takes them a few tries to get used to using past tense. Just finished her post-grad work this year. Got hired right out the gate. Practically headhunted, you believe that? Practically headhunted. Of course she was. Any company would be lucky to have her, and it was a real-ass job. Paid real-ass money, too. So her career was starting to pan out, right as years had fallen into the mother of all slums. Where was she hired? Pedigree? No, Perigee Laboratories. I say that like the name matters. Whole setup's under Harco's umbrella. That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows a third of the soybeans and corn in the entire country. One client that size, the lab wouldn't need any others. Now, no corporation earns the mega prefix without a little throat cutting, but Harco is about as tame as big business can get. Predictable, like the seasons. No one's going to buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job? Yeah, they loved having her there. She never mentioned arguments or disputes. Corporate politics getting rough? I don't think so. Not like I've been a good listener lately. But I never got the impression that she... Look, no one I know could do this to her. There's nothing she could have done that would deserve what happened to her. It was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle the detective's suspicions. I'll have to disprove their argument entirely. Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful. It was. Now I'd like you to try and tell me whatever you can about what happened tonight. Oh. Start at the beginning and take your time. The details are important. Alright, Miss, Morgan. I'll try, Morgan. When you're ready. We were arguing. We have been arguing a lot lately. Arguing about stupid stuff. I've been working. Haven't been making money. Haven't been pulling my weight. I was mad at myself. More than that, I was jealous of her. Jealous over nothing. Jealous over goddamn money. The reports say you were arguing around 8 p.m.? 8? Yeah, must have been when we started. We got into it, and I said a lot of things I shouldn't have. And I said one thing that I really, really shouldn't have. I crossed a line. And we both knew it, so I left. You left. Yeah. Walked out the front door. Thought some fresh air might help me cool off. Help me figure out what I said, what to say to make it up to her. Of course, the air wasn't fresh, just humid, thick like mud. Fucking mood right now in the Midwest U.S. While I was pissing away the time, Diane was... Did you bring your phone with you, or any other electronics? No. I kind of stormed off. Didn't even take my key fobs. Didn't even lock the door behind me. With optics down, traffic and street level cameras won't help them. That leaves... Did you go through a checkpoint or talk to anyone with modded eyes? Did you buy anything? Cash or credit? No, not even a vending machine. Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How could anyone be this unlucky? That's quite unfortunate. I just wanted quiet at the time. Wanted to wallow in it, really. Sorry if I don't have all the details quite right. My head is... But if my exact route would help, the cam's probably... What? What is it? Optics was white! Could that even happen? And there's no other proof you were at the time Diana was killed. Meaning you've got no alibi. This can't. Listen, I didn't do this. I couldn't. Carlos, I'm the one person you don't have to try and convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with. Right. Now, you said you left to clear your head. So, what made you come back? I came back because I heard a noise. A loud noise. Didn't know what it was. But it was loud, and it scared me. And it came from the direction of our apartment. I was walking back at first, but at some point I must have started running, because when I got back I was so out of breath. When I saw that the front door was open, something dropped in my chest, and my lungs... You live on the first floor, right? Yeah, first floor apartment. Street-facing entrance. We were proud of that when we first moved in. Like it was some kind of big deal. From the hallway, I saw her, but I didn't realize. I never thought that she was The lights were off. The whole room was a mess. I thought we'd been robbed, or she had fallen, or there was broken glass, furniture knocked over. And she was... I called her name, and she didn't move. I checked her pulse, and she was still warm. Her blood was warm. And I saw the gun. It looked so heavy, but I thought it had to be a fake because I didn't want it to be real. Is that why you picked it up? What? Pick it up? I didn't touch that thing. I didn't shoot her, damn it. Doing what I do, you hear a lot of lies. White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies. Bad lies, especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie, but it can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but he's nervous and defensive. And none of this works if he doesn't trust me. So you update the details of all agents by checking your phone. So you don't know what you're talking about, they'll stop giving you any credit. You did touch the gun, Carlos. That's just a fact, because... Oh, it's of your prints, yeah. I remember that detail. It's just a fact your fingerprints are on that gun. What? But I didn't do this. I didn't... I wasn't thinking. I was just... Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all. Would you believe me if I said I didn't realize it was a gun? That explains how these prints got on the gun. But not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, all he did was hold the gun. So stupid. I know what a gun looks like. But seeing it in my own home, right in front of... You were in shock, Carlos. You still are. Police came in, same time after that. Sorry, some time. I don't remember much what they said. Things started moving fast, it seemed like. The rest of my night went probably the way you'd expect. Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you said you were surprised to see the room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying that you two never had a physical fight. What? Physical? We never fought. We never fought like that. Did the police say that we did? They assumed as much. Which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting occurred. Considering what Carlos has told me, what else did they assume? What is it? I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene. Oh. It's an AR module built from data, taken as the police entered, so... Right, it's just that. It's just data, Carlos. No grisly details. Okay. Let me see it. Take your time. Alright, I think I've got it. That's how the police found things. Now close your eyes and think back to how the room looked when you left. Try and focus on what's out of place. Alright. I'll take notes. Just say whatever comes to mind. I don't remember exactly where everything was. But, well, the mirror was upright, of course. And that clock was still on the wall. The chair got knocked over at some point, and the bed got tossed. The cushions torn. And the urn fell. Other than that... No, sorry, that's all that stands out to me. I see. Like so? What's wrong? something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up. God, she looks so proud of this drawing, I assume, for these stars here, but, oh boy. It's just, I guess I just assumed your notes would be making edits to the AR. Well, I suppose that works too. Sorry, I didn't mean. I think your drawing was pretty good, considering. I'd like to change the subject now, Carlos. Right. Let's talk about the letter that was found on your desk. Letter? What do you mean? I mean this letter here. Do you recognize it? Because police are calling it a confession. Confession? Wait a second. Yeah, he's right-handed, prosthetic, has stiff, useless fingers. Victims were all shot clean through the heart. Yeah, I'd have to be amazing offhand marksman, but also writing. There's no way they'd be able to match it to his handwriting because he's a righty, and the prosthetic couldn't work as well. What about, now that we found out some more about his girlfriend, about the genetic job she had with crops, and that the rejection symptoms with his prosthetic didn't lead to him actually breaking something. What if she's the one who wrote the note? What if this wasn't meant for, like, him or the police to read? This is meant for someone she works with, that he just doesn't know that there's beef with. Some mistake she made. Ooh. Let's see. Maybe he'll be able to recognize some parts of this. This is just a note to self. Oh, what? Pardon? Look, when we fight, I lose my temper. Say things I don't mean. Oh, no. God damn it. It is written by him. I thought I was onto a lead. I thought I was being smart. It's like, holy shit, maybe it's her. Maybe the writing doesn't match. Ugh. So this morning I tried writing things down so I'd have a script to stick to. So I can apologize to her instead of just fighting with her. Carlos, you say in your note that you hurt them? Yeah, it's a good hypothesis, it's just wrong, but fuck. It's a classic case of just reading too far into the wrong thing. It helps me in role-playing games and improv with my players, but fuck, I'm not great at detective games. That's... I broke her fidget tubby. What? Excuse me, what? So, like, is it an off-brand Teletubby thing? Or is it something round... No, I would have said, like, tummies, but bees. Her what? Her what? Her fidget tubby. I thought the music in the background like it's some advertisement playing. There are these collectible ceramic character things. They're supposed to be like tactile. Use them as paperweights or conversation starters. Okay, we've got cat in a ballerina tutu, and I want to say hamster in overalls. Conversation starters. She loved those little things. Oh, the music fades away. I was actually kind of jamming to it. Oh, Chitter Charmer. This is clearly good. Chitter Charmer, welcome to chat. I assume you are interested in Of the Devil. Perhaps you played it yourself. No, I just broke our fidget spinner. Yeah, I assume you came here because of the game and not myself. Largely because this is like better part of an hour since I planned to end stream, but I'm just really into the game and I don't want to stop it now. But welcome. Because this is your first time, I'm Lucy Ferris, a fallen angel style librarian of the Morningstar archives. And I've taken a shine to a lot of visual novels and reading on stream as of late. It helps with my ability to, speak for long periods of time, which is a skill I was lacking up till the last year. But I hope you enjoy the place. Hope you stick around, that you can enjoy some of the throwables. Barango, if you're still here, if you'd like to do the thing you love to do, to show off one of the fun things I have set up, considering I'm not profitable enough for Twitch to have points and such. So, yeah, as for the fidget tubbies, that's right. They're not worth a damn. You can buy them at any flea market or garage sale, but they meant a lot to her. And I broke them. Okay, I gotta see what this evidence about fidget tubbies is. Flexible and fragile ceramic canisters. Evidently an acquired taste. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do certainly try. I just wish I had the endurance for, 4-hour streams is when Twitch really starts caring about small-time streamers. I'll get there one day. I mean, I was pissy at the time, but that goddamn piece of shit rental arm, I hardly know where I'm swinging it half the time. Got so angry I just ripped it off and tossed it in my room. The cheap, dusty, worthless. Okay, let's say he did break her frigid duckies with his replacement arm. That's also, I could see that being maybe not a profitable product, but I can see that being one. Where does that change? Nothing at the moment. There's not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it. But the police insist on claiming it's a confession for the heartbreak killings anyway. Couldn't even bother to sweep them up, I felt so. Alright, Carlos. Thanks for answering my questions. Now I'm going to call the police back in here, and I'm going to get this cleared up for you. What? That's it? That's it? Oh, okay. Although, before I do that, I do have to ask, what do you know about the Heartbreak Killer? Actually, before that, I'm starting to remember some of the evidence. Let's see if it got updated. Where is it? The debris. Nope, it hasn't been updated to be likely the fidget tubbies. Ooh, but if we can prove they were the fidget tubbies, that lends credence to the note not being about the killings. I think I've actually got a correct assumption here. Not like I thought, oh, maybe it's the victim's notes. No. Heartbreak? You mean that psycho that was trending all month? I mean, as much as anyone, I guess. I haven't been getting out much, but I'm sure everybody's on edge. A guy like that out there, he shoots people through the heart, right? Police have kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news sources. So unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend. I mean, she was shot in the chest, but that doesn't mean anything, does it? If he's this slow in the uptake, it's going to be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. I'll just have to squash that theory as quickly and definitively as possible. 4:04 a.m., June 5th, 2086. Okay. Now, before we continue, need some big sips. Hydration suggestion to anyone else, especially if you've been up a few hours and live in the Midwest US. The fucking humidity, gods. There we go. I didn't, 404 interrogation from not... Oh, you're right, yeah, it's at 404. Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't realize you could smoke in here. Did we just... Is it still smoking even though it's sitting in a cup of coffee or something? Like, what is going on here? I'm not sure I want to know what cigarettes in the future are made of if they can do this. Technically, I can smoke wherever I want. For a fee. That is very fair. I guess so. cup only contains a cigarette, it's a makeshift ashtray. Okay, yeah, but like the vibrating or whatever thing peeking out made it look a little weird. Also, how long was the cigarette actually? Because that was like a full coffee mug shaped thing, not like a shallow, wide cup. Nervous? Don't be. I'm the one who's on the clock. Right. I'm sure this isn't your first time doing this. No, of course not. It will be my first homicide defense, though. Oh. Why does everyone always think the first time's so goddamn important? No, God, I wish I could scroll back like other visual novels do instead of just the text. But I like how they use the visual effects. Like his surprise, having this silhouette kind of bounce up. How God, it's not actual tactile, but I can almost feel the taps of someone typing out as the sounds go up with each letter. And also how appearances and emotions change mid-sentence, sometimes like 3 times. So, considering there's no voice acting, you've actually got to pay attention to both. With my easily distractedness, because I've been staring at this for the last couple seconds actually, we'll see how this helps me in this game. Hey, cheer up. I've got relevant experience in other areas. Oh. And, what areas are those? You ever gamble, Carlos? No, ma'am, I never go anywhere near loot boxes. Won't touch the stuff. Good. Yeah, that's a good quality to have. Loot boxes will kill yourself. Slowly. I meant more like playing cards. Oh. Well, then, no to that, too. I actually got pretty terrible luck. Could have fooled me. Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing but crap all night long, you can still win. Which makes things pretty fun. Okay, so, do you have a good poker face? I'd like to think so. And are you lucky? Only when the stakes are high. And, in this metaphor, we're playing poker. And the state's the dealer? If only. No, the state's more like the house. You mean like the house always wins? Yes. They're very good at it. Winning, I mean. That's why they're up there and we're down here. That's why they're the house. So, what do? We play the cards we're dealt as best we can. Win more hands than we lose. Keep it up, and eventually, someone will come over and tap the dealer on the shoulder and whisper something in their ear. And then we'll be politely asked to leave. That doesn't sound very triumphant. The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose. Thanks, Morgan. That's actually good advice, even outside of gambling metaphors. Whether it comes to spite, it's not about winning, it's about making sure a particular person loses. And that in itself is a victory. Or sometimes it's about, instead of giving up and making sure a possibility never happens, you soldier through bit by bit, little detail by little detail that you can, until a random scribble on a page becomes a full-fledged work of art. For those of you who are also in Epiglottle's Discord, you may have seen the library setting I've been working on the last 3 days, that up until 4 days ago had been untouched for more than a year, because I couldn't find the drive to do it. All I could do was find reference artwork to kind of figure out how to make it work. But now in a couple of days, I've got it nearly done. So sometimes just plugging away a little bit over time, you can still come away with something presentable. Let's see, I guess I was more asking, like, what should I say? Oh, yeah, that's fine. I waxed poetic a bit there. I forgot we're trying to save you for a second. Sorry. Just leave all the talking to me. So that's the strategy. What's up? You know there's a saying about gamblers with strategies? Yo, ready to confess yet? Because I already woke up the DA. To go back and answer what she's saying, I don't know what saying there is about dealers with strategies. By similar, I assume it's similar to that of war. No good plan survives first contact with the enemy. Already, she must be new. The district attorneys have final say on whether or not a case is brought to trial. Only fair, since they're the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them prefer simple guilty pleas over long, protracted trials. And they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately, then, you'll have to call them back. Because my client is not guilty. And frankly, I'm not even sure you have enough to hold him here. Right. What she said. Flat, sweetie, please. Zip it. You got a weird sense of humor, counselor. Different generations, I guess. Before my time, kind of thing. I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocent, detective. Counselor, we have your client's written confession. His written confession. Let's start there. Okay, we'll be happy to. The thrust of every argument starts with the facts. What's already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table. It's pretty simple, counselor. Real paint-by-number stuff. See, we found a note at his apartment. With his fingerprints on it. Apologizing for how he hurt them. All so bad. Now, how are you planning on spinning that? Those are the facts. But I've been building up my hand all night. And now, I've got the weapons to answer anything they try and throw at me. Well, my client did write that note, and it was an apology. But not for murder. He was apologizing for those facts through the responses in your hand. Oh, okay. Drag and drop the card that best answers the argument into the slot on the right. You must mouse over your opponent's portrait for a reminder on what key point you're answering. Okay. Oh yeah. Near the western window. He was simply apologizing for this. What the hell is that? I found myself asking that exact same question. Ooh, beginner's luck. Win your first hand. Nice. What are we looking at here? Something from the crime scene? This diagram of the room. It's created from data you captured, right? Pure, non-GMO, augmented reality crime scene data. Yeah. What's non-GMO? Not much these days. Notice anything out of place? Yeah, the whole room's full of busted shit. It's the scene of a murder. Full of busted shit, for sure. But I was more referring to the unidentified ceramic debris found on the western side of the room. The hell is that? Ceramic debris? Huh? Must be from the vase that got tossed. Actually, that's not possible. Oh, because that vase wasn't damaged. It's not possible for that debris to have come from the vase, because that vase is still pristine. How is that? How is that possible? Flat, sweetie, please. The lady at the garage... Oh, well, this might actually help. The lady at the garage sale told me it was so old and delicate. Damn it. The one time I try and thrift shop on my own. Well, so what? What does it even matter? If the vase doesn't have a scratch on it, then the debris must have come from somewhere else. That debris is what my client wrote that apology for. saying the confession was apology for not vacuuming? I am. Because that pile of rubble is all that remains of the victim's collection of Fidgy-bob. Fidget-tack. Fidget tubbies. Complete with the advertisement music popping up again. What he said. Mr. Flat broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident. And this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology. Can you prove that? We're taking this seriously. Oh wait, that's more in the tone of, we're taking this seriously? As much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that my client wrote that note. And we can all plainly see that there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't have come from the face, it must have come from the collectibles. Note, debris, face, those things. Simple, right? The hell are you on about? The entire room was trashed, as the arcs clearly show. Those fidget tubbies must have gotten pulverized during the struggle, too. You really gonna claim he sat down to write an apology for breaking our toys after gunning her down? Not a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No, those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that, and there's proof. Let's see, what do we got? God, this is really hard. How do I... There. Okay. Come on, there. Rental. Stiff and unyieldy, dusty fidget tubby slayer, and police custody. Okay. We need to figure out how to tap these before things get hard. Is it best to get up here? Okay, yeah. That seems like the sweet zone, because up here, it's... Yeah. Okay, so the rental, which is in police custody. Oh, right, I need to drag it. Boom. Just take a closer look at the rental you took into custody. Huh? One swipe of your finger should show exactly how devastating it was to the fickle buddy ecosystem. It's fidget dummies. Whatever. You did take it into custody. I'm sure your techs found ceramic debris on it. Yes. Now that you mention it... Fine. Whatever. He broke them with his arm. While he was killing her. Happy? Overjoyed. Because even a cheap arm's got an operating system that logged the last time it was worn, right? Right. See, I happened to spot a footnote on the lab report. Said that rental hadn't been used since the AM. Whose side are you on, old man? It's gotten pretty late, sunshine. Just trying to save us all some time where I can. Well, thank you for your service. Well, thank you for your service. Are you seriously buying this crap? Just look at how scrawled, how panicked that note is. You expect me to believe he was that upset over a fidget tubby collection? One that hasn't even been graded? Setting aside Detective Ray's surprising depth of knowledge when it comes to the collectibles, you're correct. They held no real monetary value. It would be odd for Carlos to be so shaken over their loss. But so what? So what? After all, that's not panic you're seeing on that page. No, the only reason that note looks the way it does is because Carlos is right-handed. Okay, we were correct. This is an important point. He is right-handed. Because Carlos is right-handed. Yes, I am. Did they not know that? Shouldn't that be on my permanent record or something? So the reason why that note looks like asylum wall scribbles is just because he had to use his left hand to write it. I tend to think better writing than typing, and I need to get used to use my left anyway. I just thought it could be good practice. Take that into account, alongside the ceramics. Your slam-dunk confession is looking about as watertight as a fishnet. Okay, fine. Forget about the confession. Congratulations, counselor. You've established that your client's remorseless. Now let's get back to the reality of the situation. Here are the facts. We found your client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood, right next to a big old goddamn gun. that just so happened to have his fingerprints on it. That's right. That coat is... What? You gonna claim it's not his? It actually wears an extra small. He's trying to bait me. In her typical low-key fashion. As the arguments flow, you won't always have the stronger hand. So what's best you can do is hold your tongue and avoid overcommitting. Can we declare Reyes to be an overconfident little dwarf, be done with him already? Try to lose as little credit as possible while you wait for more favorable chance. So choose your battles. You must have something, no sense playing it. So, real quick, let me just check Reyes. I just kind of assumed they were she. Was I not paying attention to pronouns correctly? I was kind of going for the kind of vibe here with one shock of words of dyed hair, the eye patch, and the fucking middle school syndrome we mentally thought about her earlier. Farah, that's a woman's name. There's also that. Oh, yep, she must be on it. It was right here. I left it on here, and I went to look for the profile like an idiot. Yeah, this is how I intend to fight him. But yeah. Let's see. I assumed it was a male-female duo, if anything, to make the opening segment easier. Or Morgan saying, I wonder what he's thinking or she's doing. Something you'd like to ask me, detective? I'm just curious. What'll it be next? You gonna tell me he actually wears an extra small? Somewhere next. It doesn't let me choose anything else, so I... Oh, it's because there's no raise. It's part of the tutorial. Got it. He doesn't wear an extra small. Gee, Carlos, do you? No. Yeah. Sure there's no evil twin you've forgotten to mention? No, obviously not. No, I'm afraid not. Not even gonna go for a mysterious third party at the scene of the crime. To prove his innocence, I will need to get there eventually. Going there now without hard evidence. I mean, yeah, we can't prove, I don't think. Let's see. Statement, we have rental revolver. What about his coat? My lab expert. No. Victim's not going to help. Uphill organizer. Yeah, nothing I can think of that could conclusively prove, so we can't prove third party. I have no evidence of a third person at this time. Damn right you don't. It's clear as day in the Arcs. No evidence of anyone but Carlos being there that night. So keep dreaming. Autopsy report? I don't think so. Let's see, evidence. Because yeah, it's just cause of death is ballistic trauma because shot in the heart. Single bullet. Handwriting saying that it matches the other victims of the serial killer. So yeah, that wouldn't be proof of someone else there. So it was obvious she had something there. I wasn't going to win that hand either way. But at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. We're not contesting any of that, detective. My client freely admits to holding that gun. He picked it up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene. Which was not smart. Hey, but not illegal either. And that's all. He had her blood all over his clothes. Yes, he did. Right. Do you have those clothes on hand, by the way? The lab finished with them a while ago. What are you getting at? It'll be easier to just show you. Would you mind getting them for me? You know what? Sure, I could use the fresh air. Just like him. Sticks of bullshit in here anyway. here, I thought the room smelled like... Psst, Morgan. What are you doing? My coat's covered in her blood. I remember that much. So doesn't that, like, make me look really bad? Just relax, Carlos. I'm pretty sure that's impossible. You're innocent. And that means that having more evidence will always help you, not hurt you. Really? Really? Not really. Plenty of innocent people in prison. People with bad luck. Or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easy. More often than not, it takes coaxing. What was it that reminded me of? Alright, here it is. One bloodstained jacket fresh from the lab. So what's your angle? You gonna tell us this is actually just hot sauce? No. That would be silly. If you actually thought it over. So what the hell's your point? Hey. Sorry, just got thrown off by the turn of good fortune. What good fortune? Actually, that's a good question. What is about his coat? Let's see. Other details? Not sure where she's going with this. You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart. By a gun that happens to be an old-world, pre-tagging firearm. And so this coat proves he couldn't have been the shooter. Is there a gas leak in here? In what world does that make any sense? Sense happens to be the key here. I just need to draw their attention to what they can. Old world revolver. Let's see, can I look at it here? Hatch's left hand. There's the marksman's bullet. Wait. No, it might be misremembering how it was presented. I know they definitely said is old style that used gunpowder. Which would mean they'd be able to test it. Would the smell still be there? I think the timeline of the night... I mean, that's true. But I don't think just looking at it is what it's going to be. And the game seemed to be really hinting towards something being off about the smell in here. But let's say it was a close-range thing. And it has to be something to do with the jacket. There's blood on the jacket, but not the revolver. So it wouldn't be something we could see, or we would have had her bring the revolver. With the feel... I'm feeling pretty confident because this is tutorial level, the demo, and both the detectives have been talking about, powder residue. I think smell is what we go with. Just do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell. I don't smell anything except dried blood. Exactly. Yes, I got it. The coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of gunpowder. Oh, cigarette. What? That? Oh, it's what he's been smelling in here. Yeah. Because we've been smoking. Yeah. Yes, Detective London, I was smoking earlier. Could you rejoin the conversation? I've been listening. Do you want me to smell the jacket? If you would. Let's see. No gunpowder. What? What about gunpowder? Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time. You can't be more than a few years older than me. But not before your partners, it seems. See, gunpowder's weak by today's standards, but it's still volatile stuff. Hard to store, prone to misfiring, and when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence. The hell is she talking about, London? Modern firearms like the ones we carry use electricity, magnetism, even air pressure or sound waves. They've got more accuracy, more firepower, less recoil, less noise. And they don't leave behind any residue. Gunpowder residue. You talked my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't leave digital traces. But a revolver like this one, it'd leave gunpowder on the skin of whoever fired it for days. So then his code. If you don't trust your noses, you can check the lab reports. I think if they had found any gunpowder on my client or his clothes, they'd have taken the time to highlight it. Well, whatever. That just means he washed off after shooting her, or he changed his clothes. That's not possible, but it would be pretty pointless. Huh? His jacket and his left hand were blood-soaked when your officers found him. Would he really go through all the effort to get rid of something as subtle as gunpowder residue, just to get the victim's blood all over himself afterwards? Yep, you don't have to prove he's innocent. Yeah, law is all about proving a reasonable doubt and a jury that understands that. Let's see. In light of these details, I'd like to formally request that you reconsider the charges Mr. Flat is facing as soon as possible. They're faltering now. Should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them. But that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So if it looks like he never actually fired the gun, I'll admit, things were a little dicey there at times. But once I was able to grasp the situation, the smaller pieces fell into place easily enough. Not my cleanest work by far, but overall I'd say... Did she get a message? Are we getting a literal someone whispering to the dealer, telling them to let us go? Wait, did they actually manage to find it? Something you'd like to share, Detective Reyes? You're good. Twisting the truth into knots, making the facts work for you. But your luck just ran out. Because the net scrubbers found a cam active at the exact moment of the shooting. And right now, I'm staring at a photo of the killer. On a bet. A photo of the shooter. If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's just pulling this out of her ass. She's got something from the scrubbers. Let's see. She must have something. She must be bluffing. I'll go with Morgan's gut on this. She has something. I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish that there was an optics blackout during the shooting? Sure, there was. But this isn't from optics. Ooh, we lost some rapport there. Good thing I held my tongue. Oh, right, because sometimes we're going to lose rapport, even if we did our best. As I thought, the scrubbers must have managed to dig up something from outside the network. Which means... Party's over, Counselor. Feast your eyes on this. What is that? Well, okay, the quality is lacking. And yet, there it is. They've managed to find a quarter needle of evidence in a whole city block of haystacks. What are the goddamn chances? No, with the scale their tools operate on, I guess the chances are, as always, in their favor. So it is the left hand, and I assume this not being dark, that means there's enough detail in the photo to show it's human. Oh! It's a mirror with clock in it, which means the shooter's right hand. Oh! You're right! Yes, because this happened at... Oh, wait, no. 8 or 9. Let's see, 3, 6, 9. No, because that would still match, because that's our hand at 9. If it was reflected, the clock would also be reflected, wouldn't it? Oh, I don't think there's any more we can get from just looking at this. We'll go ahead and continue. But I like the detail about maybe it's the mirror. Clock's next to the mirror. Oh. Oh, wait. This is the mirror. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. So, wait. Then where's the image coming from? If it's able to see the mirror... Did the killer bring their own camera just to help frame this guy? Ooh. That'd be an interesting little detail. And would justify why they shot the mirror, too. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from worst-case scenario I envisioned. You could even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are... Well, it's a little bit... Well, no, because... Sorry. Wait, was the word like that? I mean, it might be from the window, but that seems a bit weird. Oh, wait, can we look at that again, actually? Will let us... Arxada. Nope, does not. Okay, the way I remember it... Okay, let's see. Say we're standing here at the entrance. Window's over here. So mirror... I guess technically, but you'd think it would also get the victim. Because the mirror's in the corner. Which means even if it's coming from the window, they'd be in front of it, right? But yeah, it does look like blinds. I was just thinking... we'll continue. We'll see the options we get. You might be right. It just feels weird with my memory. It's a little bit blurry. Don't look at me. I didn't take the damn thing. Technically, no one took it. Looks like at the time of the shooting, a neighbor was on their phone. Probably venting about how crazy the couple across the way was acting. But if their phone was on, its camera would be on. And so we managed to get this shot through the window. Okay, so it is through the window, you're right. My mental map is just being weird right now. Where to begin? Far away, unfocused, ultra-low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, colors shifted. So compressed it looks like it's from another century. There are tools that could enhance... No, there aren't. Enhance this image any further and I could count the pixels on one hand. And you could kiss its admissibility in court goodbye. You can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image. And then there's no way in hell you can get this past a judge. Yeah, you're probably right. We couldn't. But I think I know a DA that could. Either way, doesn't seem like your client's leaving this police station anytime soon. That photo. What the hell is happening to me? Think I know a DA that could? Don't be so modest, old man. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway. At the same time, the whole neighborhood heard a gunshot. And who do we know who had their left-hand fingerprints all over that gun? You're referring to my client. You think? We've established he wasn't wearing his modded arm at all tonight. So he must have shot with his left. Yes, and we've also established that he's weak with his left side. A left side that had no gunpowder whatsoever. Forensics will never be perfect, counselor. Sometimes we miss things. Sometimes you take a walk through the rain. When you finally get where you were going, you somehow end up dry. But that doesn't mean it didn't rain. All of which is to say, before judge or jury, photographic evidence outweighs a failed sniff test. Carlos is innocent. I know he is. But that photo shows a left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent. That photo's real. If both are true, that means that photo doesn't show what it appears to show. So, at a loss for words? Never. I'm just confused about one thing. Where was this photo taken from? Exactly. Exactly. Positional data is only accurate to the nearest public router. If we DNon the phone's owner and ask them where, why bother with any of that? Ballistics and common sense tells us that the perp shot from the room's doorway. The front entrance of the apartment faces to the south. There's a hallway that runs back to the bedroom. We're looking straight at the shooter, so it's pretty obvious that this was taken from across the north window. From the north? If this is from the north, then why can we clearly see the... You called it, it's the clock. It's not that complicated. The neighbor who got the shot must live on the other side of the street. So we're looking into the bedroom from the north window. If she's wrong, I should seize on the opportunity to start turning the tide. So raise is... Let's take it from the west. But no. We're going to go from the north. From the... Oh, wait, shit! No, because that would mean... Something the matter, counselor? Oh wait, no, that's bluffing. Sorry, just thinking things through. Right. So, law school was mostly take-home tests, I'm guessing. Now's not the time for hesitation. You speak up and take back momentum. This photo can't be taken from the north. What are you talking about? The good detectives are misinformed here, and I need to take advantage of it. Time to press the initiative. The hell do you mean this was taken from the west? The autopsy tells us the victim was shot from the doorway. Your officer's ARCS data tells us the precise location of everything in the room at the time they arrived. And now your photo has shown us the exact moment of the shooting. And... Now raise the ante on a hand up to the current max. Answer wrong, you'll lose more credit, but answer correctly. Bank up more credit for trickier hands down the line. And altogether, that tells us that this photo must have been taken through the west window. As long as you consider... Yep, mirror was upright, clock was on the wall, cushion and beds were... Oh, wait. Can we physically affect this, or... Oh. Okay, that's the max we can do. Just take one look at the clock in that photo. The clock? What about it? The clock, huh? Seems like London's got an idea. If he's mistaken, I can pounce on it to keep my tempo high. The photo was taken right before the shooting, so... Wait, don't tell me the time of death is wrong. One sec. Not that statement. God dang it, it doesn't have the bit about him being out clearing his head. And I can't remember if it said anything about time. Oh, right. Let's see. Autopsy. It says 9 p.m. Shot through the heart. It's kind of hard to fake that. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, it's confusing. Because it's like stay or raise, and this is... Ugh. Okay, I'm trying. a good question, Detective London, but the answer's no. The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree. The time of death was 9 p.m. Right, no mistaking that. So then what the hell were you on about? There's a clock on the wall in this photo, analog style, and it reads 9 o'clock. 9 p.m., the time of the shooting. The hell's so special about that? Nothing. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but do you remember there being a clock in the room? But actually, I don't recall there being a clock. That makes sense. You wouldn't recall seeing the clock, because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor. And the only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner. My client has informed me that before the crime, it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so. What the hell is that supposed to be? Oh, right, this is evidence because this was drawn up before she showed the photo. That's why. Okay, now I understand how this lead-up could work. An artistic rendition. It's, very distinct. If you had information on how the crime scene was before the shooting, why didn't you just add that to the arcs? And show you my hand? Just because discovery law compels us to share info doesn't mean we have to play fair, Detective. Also, we're not in court right now. Slipped my mind. I'll do that now. The important thing is, if that clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred, then this photo must be looking through the western window to see it. Don't start getting ahead of yourself. The victim was shot at 9 p.m. The same time that this photo was taken of the shooter. But you want to claim that the clock's still on the eastern wall when it would have been knocked down during the fighting. You've got your logic backwards, Detective. Your precious photo shows that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And there's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how the cards fell. No. Yes. So, I go to Max. It's glass. Push it to the glass shards. What about them? Nothing much, really. Only that they're on top of the victim's body. Ooh. And not under it. If the glass fell on top of the victim's body, that would mean that she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed. But that doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone trash the room afterwards? It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, were there any signs of struggle at the other crime scenes? Other crime scenes? No, nothing like that. Those attacks would have been over in a matter of seconds. So, what did you think when you saw the mess in the bedroom? This was personal, and things had gotten complicated. Shit happens. Shit does happen, Detective. But in this case, it seems there's been a general misconception about the order in which shit happened. So what if the room didn't get tossed over until afterwards? He still shot her. And we have a photo right here. And I'm glad you do, Detective, because that photo proves my client's innocence. Huh? Proving that it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult, and maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. Thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that it couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger. Because the man in the photo can't possibly be Carlos. Like hell it can't! The glass shards prove that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And we know that until the room was tossed, that clock was on the eastern wall. Which means that this photo of the shooter was taken from the west. Back to this shit. That's impossible. The only hallway in that apartment runs from north to south. The only person with prints on that gun is your client. and the only fact that matters is that he used it to murder 6 innocent people. You're a very honest person, Detective. Excuse me? That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You've played your cards too early, and now I can steal the pot right out from under you. You're right about the hallway's orientation. You're right about the prince. And this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo. What? What we're seeing... Hell yeah. I want to see what else is here. No camps, time of shooting, nope. Victim, nope. Those things. The prosthetics. The mirror. It's a standard mirror, not digital. What is that? Trying the glass shards again? Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from? Yeah, sure. They came from a standing mirror. A mirror that, at the time of the shooting, stood across the room from the western window. But then, that would mean, at that angle, from that viewpoint, it would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun in their left hand. We're seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And as we all know, my client has had a working right arm in a number of weeks. And he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad that it was recovered. Because it just proved that my client couldn't possibly have committed this crime. That should be the end of it. Except it looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Sunk cost has got its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot palms kind of fever. The impotent, irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. But lucky for you, Detective, I'm well versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes. That's one word for it. And allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend, and arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't have fired. After being confronted with these facts, you received photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting. And instead of utilizing said photo to track down the real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client, a man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway. He could have had a backup arm. He could have stolen one. A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fangs a bit. That's the best you've got. Even a bare-bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to an individual's nervous system. You'd have to bring it into a clinic, which would have left a record on his shoulder OS. A record you won't find. And you still have to somehow have gotten rid of it before the police arrived. At the scene of a violent crime calls for full spectrum, scanning the entire building and 100 meters around it minimum. So where, Detective Reyes, did he manage to hide his cybernetic arm from your drones in the time between the shooting and his arrest? Well... I just had a thought, but I'll voice it later. Any objections? Detective. God damn it. just chef's kiss. That deserves a big old swig. Show me your hand, Flat. You're uncuffing me? In light of the evidence, we have no reason to hold you. Now I gotta go call the DA. And tell her I made a mistake. Not we made a mistake, huh? Listen, kid, you should know. Detective. Lost my train of thought. But hey, your attorney's a real tiger, and she just fought like hell for you. Make sure you thank her properly. Public defense doesn't pay that well. Yeah. That's kind of you to say, Detective. But my work is its own reward. Sure. I feel exactly the same, Counselor. Hands folded like a mugger trying to jump an Aikido comp. Yeah. But you know what? At least they did have the grace to eventually accept their defeat. What happens now? I'll have to speak with the DA about the dismissal. And there's still some paperwork we'll need to go through. But basically, you're free to go. Congrats! You get to leave the casino with your kneecaps intact. Yay? But what am I supposed to do? The detectives will continue their investigation. Their investigation into heartbreak? Huh? Yes. When the authorities are satisfied with their examination of the body, she'll be handed over to the next of kin. And then you can make funeral arrangements. No, that's not what I... The hand being God is bad enough. But a serial killer? It's like she died of the flu. It doesn't happen anymore. People die of the flu all the time, but I know what you mean. I can't make sense of it. So what am I supposed to do? Hell if I know. There are some contacts I could give you. Services, professionals, doctors. No, you've done more than enough for me. When you got here, I was too tired to even defend myself. To try and convince them that I didn't. You saved me. Thank you. You're welcome, Carlos. But it's my job to know. I mean, thank you for not asking. For not asking if I killed her. Oh, Carlos. I didn't need to ask. I knew you were innocent from the start. Of course he was. After all, this feels like the big spoiler. The blood's always different. Heart's always in the same place. Easy to find. Hard to miss. But the blood's always different. A flowering stain unfurling towards an invisible sun. A perfectly unique bloom. Only one for each of us. A Rorschach test with singular, universal meaning. Vitality at its climax. Bursting forth into a red fractal consisting solely of an infinite the end. With the comical thud of a body hitting the floor has its own kind of lowbrow appeal. 8:59 p.m., June 4th, 2086. Alright, so we're going to end it there, because we're already nearly 2 hours past my intended time. But I am going to say my thought about the detective. Let's see the photo. Is here Reyes? God dang it, it doesn't have the colors here. But in that final, not animatic, the art she had when she was like bent over, fists having slammed on the table, I noticed something. Exempting this bit of dye job here, she had brown hair and brown eyes, which is the MO of the Heartbreak Killer, and which, let's see, might be on the evidence. Oh, no, wrong photograph. Victim. And, no, it doesn't say there. Known victims, known victims, known victims. Dang it, it's not there. But that was one of the common facts about all the victims. Just brown hair, brown eyes, a similar height. I don't think it says... Yeah, it doesn't say her height. But if I'm correct about later parts and Reyes becoming a target, I think she is going to become another victim. And who would suspect the defense attorney? Sorry, not defense attorney, the public defender of being the one to kill the cop after defending her client. But with that, we'll go to the BRB screen and find someone to raid into. I had a plan. I'm not sure if they're still on. Okay, let's see. Need to reopen internet. Where is... Right. Twitch. Da-dum-dum. And no, they're not still on. Howie is on, but I know they started a little before I did. So that might be a bit much. Let's see what Rye is doing. Nearly 3 hours in, but they usually do longer. Doing some streaming together in Minecraft. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give him a raid, see if it'll let me. Copy, because I don't trust my ability to actually spell that. Alright. Capable of raiding. Perfect. Alright. Because we definitely had someone new to the channel. This is the raid message I usually do, just because it's fun. I don't feel like doing something custom for this game, because I think the only really good option would be a spoiler of some kind. So yeah, anyone who likes doing raid messages and not doing, I don't know, Ferris raid is something that Durango usually does. We've got that. As always, my wonderful tome readers, I hope you guys are eating enough, drinking enough, getting enough sleep. Take care of your body so your body can take care of you, especially those of you who, like me, are in the central U.S., under the heat dome and suffering from humidity and heat. Drink water before you're thirsty. Drink Gatorade, or at least something with electrolytes and salt after you sweat so your body can recover. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you here again. But until then, see you around and stay safe.